Hey crafters, Lisa here from Fun Stuff Crafts, and as you can see, I've got my trusty helper with me again this week. Chloe has inspired this Inspiration Friday project, but before Chloe tells us what we're working on this week, I want to thank you for stopping by my channel. If this is the first time you've stopped by my channel, thank you so much. Make sure you click on the subscribe button down below and click on the bell, and YouTube will alert you each time I upload a new video. I try to do it every Friday. That's why we call it Inspiration Friday. So Chloe, why don't you tell the group what we're going to be making this week?
What we are going to be making today are headbands and, just headbands.
Headbands. And I think where you're going to go next, Chloe, is why are we making headbands?
We are making headbands because headbands keep hair out of your face and they're a great style, and I can't forget, they go great with your clothes.
So Chloe had so much fun finding the perfect 4 headbands that we wanted to share with you. Chloe, how did you come up with those ideas?
I looked on Pinterest and the internet, and on Pinterest I saved some of the headbands.
And then Auntie Lisa got to looking and figuring out how to make them. So Chloe is modeling our first headband, and Chloe, what do we call this one?
We call this one the bow headband because it has a bow on it.
And what's the next one, Chloe?
This one right here, it's called the knots because it has a knot in it.
And I'm modeling the covered headband. And then we have one more headband. It is the turban headband. So we are going to show you 4 quick tutorials on how to make these. And Chloe has been in Auntie Lisa's fabric stash looking for the favorite fabric that she wanted for her headbands. So give us a minute, we're going to get our camera angle changed and we're going to meet you back at the craft table and we're going to show you how to make 4 headbands this week. Okay, so let's go ahead and look at what we're going to need for our turban one. Our turban, we're going to do 2 pieces 17 by 7 and 1 piece 11 by 3. And then of course we're also going to have our 6 inches of elastic. Okay, turban one we are going to take over to the sewing machine and we are going to fold it right sides together, the one piece, and we're going to do the second piece right sides together. Okay. And then the piece for our elastic, we're going to do right sides together. Okay, so we've got our 3 pieces. We're going to go over to the sewing machine and do straight stitches right across there. So I'll meet you over at the sewing machine and we'll get to work on the turban one. And we have got 3 pieces of material that we are going to sew a straight seam down. Really basic here. I've got my straight stitch on. I'm going to start my stitch, do a quick little back stitch, and then I'm going to have at it. Okay, and a trick I learned in home ec way back when they still had home ec, is if you're doing a bunch of straight stitches, just continue on a chain. And I'm just going to go ahead and do that. I'm going to clip my edges here, and then I've just got my 3 pieces of material, and I'm going to clip, and I'm going to clip, and then I've got all 3 ready to go. Okay, now the 2 pieces that are going to make up our turban are really easy to turn, okay, because they are a bigger piece of material, wider I guess you could say. Now, I have got my handy dandy little Easy Press Mini plugged in right next to me. I just love using it with my sewing. It is just so handy and it fits so nice on my sewing table. But what I would tell you guys, if you don't have one, just use your basic iron. And you want to have that ready as you're making these, because we do want to give our headbands a nice press before we start to put them together. Okay, so there's one, and we'll do the other one here. Now, I have got a new little tool that I discovered, and it's called a bobbin. And so I just want to show you how to use that when you are turning material. And I am still mastering this, but you can definitely use a safety pin. I still use safety pins too, but this is a new little tool. And basically I just put it through and I close it on the material. And then I can just pull my material back through. Okay. Okay. Then I let my bobbin go and we're all set. Okay. So now what I want to do, you guys, is I like to do my press where my seam is face up and it is in the center. Okay. So got my handy dandy little easy press all ready to go. And I am just going to give this a good press. Okay, it just helps it all lay really nice when you have a nice press on them. And you guys can see I'm using my felt pad. It's another thing that is just handy to throw right up on my sewing table. Don't have to worry about getting the ironing board out, but by all means, if you guys want to use your ironing board, that works too. These are just things that I have found that works really nice for me. Okay, and then I am going to also press. Don't necessarily have to press the elastic, it's all going to be scrunched together, but I just like to give it a nice press. Okay, so we've got all three pieces of our fabric put together. I got another cool tool, and when I bought my bobbin kit, I got these elastic pullers. And so this just makes pulling my elastic really slick. So I just thread it through, and then what I'm going to do is I'm going to pull it right through the elastic. And see, I can just thread it right through. I've got different sizes. This works perfect for this small little casing that I'm going to be doing. And then what I like to do is once I get right there to the end is I just pop a pin in it, because we don't want to lose that elastic once we get it through. Okay, and then I just finish pulling this one through and pull out my little threader. And then what we're going to do is I like to just switch my machine to a zigzag stitch, and I'm just going to finish off these edges. And you're going to do that on both sides. Okay. And then all I'm going to do is I'm going to clip. And clip all those threads. I got a little bit of extra material. Okay. And then my elastic is ready to go. Okay. So now what we need to do is construct the turban part before we put the elastic on. Okay. I like to face my seam. My seam is going to be down, right? And my good side is up, and then my other good side is down, and my seam is up. Okay, so what we're going to do then is pick it up, and we are just going to put these together and put these together, and you have got, there's your turban right there. So now what we do to attach our elastic, and you guys, this step is going to be the same on each one of our headbands. We're going to sandwich it together. Okay, so I'm just going to put that, sandwich that right in there. Okay, I'm going to put a little clip there, and then I'm going to do the exact same thing over here. Okay, have that all laid out. I'm going to bring this guy over, and you could have sewed this, you guys, before you go on to the next one, but I'm just going to go ahead and pin both, or clip both of mine. Okay, I want to make sure, now my fabric's not laying quite flat. I want to make sure my fabrics are even. Okay, and I want to make sure this is coming in the same way. And I'm going to fold that one over, and then they're clipped. Okay, so then what we're going to do, it looks kind of funny here, we're going to sew these also. Now I like to use a zigzag stitch. I just think it gives it a nice firm stitch. So I'm going to leave it on my zigzag. I'm going to put a little knot there. You want to make sure you're going through all those layers of fabric. And then I like to go backwards all the way. Okay, and I've got a nice stitch there. Okay, then I'm going to do the other side. Take my clip out. Clip my edges. And I'm just going to trim this a little bit. Okay. Just makes it nice and clean for when we turn it. And you guys, we have got a headband all done. So all you do is pull, turn this the other way, turn this one the other way, and look at that, you guys. Is that not a cute little turban headband? And you can play with how you've got them laying, but how cute is that for a headband? So that's our first one done. Okay, so let's get started with the knot version. Okay, so with the knot version, what we're going to do is we are going to start with one piece of fabric that is 22 inches by 6 inches and one piece of fabric that is 11 by 3. Okay, following that same theme, we are going to fold our fabric in half. Okay, and we're going to fold our other piece of fabric. So this was my 22 inches by 6, and I'm just going to fold it in half. Okay, and then what we're going to do is we're going to take this over to the sewing machine, and we are going to sew some straight stitches. And then also don't forget we need our 6 inches of elastic. Okay, so let's get started on the knotted one, you guys. And remember, we've got those 2 pieces of fabric that we've got folded in half. Our standard 11 by 3, which is going to be for our elastic. So just like the other ones, you guys, we're just going to sew a straight stitch right down this. Okay, you guys, just like the last one, we are going to clip this. And I am going to turn this one inside out. Okay, we're going to give these a quick press, just like we have on all the other ones. This one's super easy, you guys. What we're going to do is we're going to put our elastic in, just like we have on the other ones. We're going to tie a knot on our bow or on our long piece, and we are going to have another headband ready to go. So I'm going to use my handy dandy little threader again here. And sometimes when I'm trying to hurry that my fingers just do not want to work. Just kind of repetitive, you guys. We're just changing the tops a little bit on these cute headbands, but we're basically going down the same path. Okay? So, I'm going to go ahead and sew a zigzag stitch right here. going to clip just like we've done on each of the other headbands already. Okay, now before we sandwich this one together, we want to tie our knot. Okay, so I like to tie the knot. So I'm right in the center, and you just kind of figure that out. And I don't like to pull the knot too tight, because I just think that makes it really look cute. Okay, so now we are going to wrap our elastic just like we have been, you guys. I can clip it, and then I can come over here and I can wrap the other piece. Okay, I'm going to throw a zigzag stitch across this one. Trim it just like we have on the other ones. So the last stitch here. We're going to clip it just like we've done the other ones, and lo and behold, we have got another very cute headband. This is the knotted one. Okay. Okay, so let's go ahead and start the bow one. And what I want to show you with the bow one is we're going to start with one piece 16 by 6.5, one piece 11 by 3, and then two pieces that are 4 by 12. Okay, so let's see what we've got here. We've got our one that is 6 by 16, and I'm going to go ahead and just fold that in half. Okay, we're going to be making a straight stitch on that. Then I've got my piece that is the 11 by 3. I'm going to be doing the exact same thing there. Okay. Now I've already cut my bow out, and it was out of the two pieces that were the 4 by 12. Okay, but I want to show you how I made my pattern for my bow. And then of course we've got our elastic. So for the bow pattern, you are going to start with a piece of paper that is 6 inches by 4 inches. Okay, and we're going to go ahead and fold that in half, and then I'm going to use my grid on my mat here, and I am going to go up 1 inch and over 3/4 of an inch. Okay, then I'm going to fold my paper in half up to where my 3/4 inch mark was and make a little mark there. Now I see I got my paper cut a little bit big, so I'm going to come down to 2 inches, right? And then all I'm going to do is I am just going to, with my pen, and I always change it a little bit once I start to draw it. Okay, so basically I started at this end, I'm arching it up to that center, down to the 3/4 inch, and then straight out for, basically that's going to be the middle of your bow. Okay, and then I'm just going to cut out that piece. Okay, and then imagine that this was my two pieces that were 4 by 12. I've got them laying on top of each other. Okay, and I folded them in half, and then I open up my bow piece and I just cut out my bow. Okay, so then what happens is I'm going to pop over the sewing machine, and we have got this, the bow piece we're going to sew, and we're going to leave an opening right here. So we're going to go around all the way, and then we're going to leave it open right here. Okay, this piece we're going to do a straight stitch, and this piece we're going to do a straight stitch, and then we're going to take our elastic with us also. So let's hop over to the sewing machine and let's make this bow one. Okay, so for our bow one, we're going to go ahead and start with our band first, just like we've done on the other ones. I'm going to go ahead and just do a straight stitch here. clip our threads here, and I'm going to cheat there, and I'm just going to take apart those two pieces. Now remember, with the bow, you're going to do your right sides together, and we're going to leave this part right here open. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and start, and again I'm doing just about a 5/8 inch seam. Okay, I'm just going to go ahead and trim everything up. I need to grab my scissors real quick. And then what we're going to do is, for the bow, okay, I am going to go around just really close on the corners, just making little tiny clips. And the reason why we do that is just so that we can get our bow to lay really nice. And I'm going to clip off the ends. So right there at the ends, I'm just going to clip that off, okay? And I'll just continue around, and I'll just do little tiny clips. Don't want to go through your seam at all, okay? And then what we're going to do is we're going to turn these things inside out. I have got my handy dandy little easy press ready to go because we want to give this all a good press. So I'm going to go ahead and do this one first. This is just our standard band. We've been doing this on all of our headbands. So I'm just going to turn this one inside out, or right sides out. Can't quite talk today. The bow one, I really like to use my fingers to get around those seams. And we're going to give this a good press too. I've actually got my bone folder out that I use with a lot of my paper crafting, and I find sometimes that just really helps get all the edges pushed out. Gives a nice push out to it. Okay. Now remember, we've got that little opening there, and what I'm going to do, because you are not even going to see this, is I am just going to do a little stitch on my sewing machine to close that out. Okay, and then we'll make sure we give it a good press, but first we've got to get our last one done. So I'm just gonna, got my safety pin handy. Definitely, I've done a few of them with the Bobkin, but I am going to use a safety pin on this one because it just happens to be sitting right next to me. Okay, so now that I've got that last one turned, we're going to go ahead and give everything a really good press. Okay, I like to have my seam up just like we talked about before, and with the bow I really like to give it a nice press. Okay, then what we're going to do, just like we've done on a couple of the other headbands, is we are going to thread our elastic. Okay, and always want to make sure that I've got a pin handy. So when it starts to come through, I'm just going to secure it on the other end with a pin. Okay, and then we're going to finish bringing it through, and I'm just like I've done on the other ones, I'm going to throw a zigzag stitch through that. Okay. Trim my edges fine. late. Lisa doesn't know what she's saying. Okay, so I got my elastic. So now what we're going to do is exactly what we've done on the other ones. We're going to wrap our elastic. Okay, I'm going to come around and do the exact same thing here. And I should clip those edges or those threads a little bit. Okay, I'm going to wrap that right like that, and I'm going to sew a zigzag stitch. Now I like to go really slow on this stitch because you're going through quite a bit of material. Okay, now go ahead and do the other side. Same thing, I'm going to go real slow. Put a little knot in there. Not going back the other way. And guess what, you guys? We just about have this one all done. Okay, trim all my threads. Turn this one around, just like we have on the other ones. Okay, and then what I'm going to do is I'm going to find the center. I'm going to take my bow, and I am going to tie the little bow here, and this headband is all done. Now you'll see the one that I made for Gracie is a different pattern. We made quite a few of these guys tonight, but just how cute is that as our bow bandana? Okay, so now let's work on the covered one. And the covered one, we're going to need to do a little math. But first, what you need is you need a headband. Now, I picked these up at Walmart. There were 3 in a pack. And so it's a cute gray one right now, but I'm going to cover it with this cute cow plaid. And so what you do is you take your tape measure and you measure the length of your headband, and you times it times 3. So I've got 3 times the length, okay? Then I look at the width and I measure it and I go 2 times the width, okay? So my headband is 15 inches. So 3 times 15 is 45. So I need 45 inches of my material, okay? So I've got that all measured out. Then my 1.5 times 2 is 3. So this is going to be 3 inches. So you guys, this is the easiest of the headbands. We're going to take this over to the sewing machine and we're going to sew a straight stitch all the way down it. And then we are going to slide it right onto the headband. Now, I will tell you, I have found that a little bit of glue with a glue gun really helps out this headband. So I'll show you that as soon as we get it all sewn up. So why don't you join me over at the sewing table and we'll get going on this one. So let's grab our last one, and our last one is going to be our covered one. And remember, you guys, I said this is the easiest one of all of them. I am going to sew a straight seam down here. Okay, so we've got our seam all done for the pull through. Why am I calling it the pull through, Lisa? This is the covered one, and I'm going to go back and just use my safety pin for this one. And I'm just going to pull it through really quick, so give me a second here and I'll show you how easy this one is. One thing I do want to note, you guys, is you might notice I've got my glue gun off to the side there, and I've got that warming up because we're going to use this one, use the glue gun. So give me a second here. Okay, and I'm not even going to worry about pressing this one because it's going to be all scrunched together. Okay, so you guys, this is how easy this one is. I'm going to take my headband, and now your seam I like to make sure it's on the inside, okay? So just watch that as you push this in, and that's all you're doing is you're just feeding this in on the headband, okay? And where we're going to use the glue at is at the end. We are going to add a dab of glue so that it does not come down, okay? So you just move this around, and you guys can see why I didn't worry about pressing it, because see how cute that is, you guys? It's all scrunched up. You'd never know that was a cow print either. Okay, so I've got it through on both sides. You can see how I've got the ends there, right? Okay, so now all I'm going to do is I'm going to take a dab from my glue gun, and I'm just going to put it on the ends of the headband, okay? And then I'm very carefully going to bring these so they're right at the end. Now you could have finished off your ends if you wanted. I've just found that this part just works just fine if I just do it this way, okay? So then it's not going to come off, okay? So I just glued that really well, and then I'm going to do the other side. A little bit of glue. I'm going to do the exact same thing, making sure my seam's on the inside. Okay. And just pull it right through like that. Okay. Got some glue on there. And then you can play with getting this all pulled out the way you want it. But how cute is that little headband? Thanks for joining me for another Inspiration Friday. This has been a great tutorial learning how to make 4 different style headbands. And as you can see, Chloe and I had lots of fun making headbands. If you like this tutorial, please give it a thumbs up and make sure you subscribe to my channel. If you have any questions, I'd love to hear from you. Please leave a comment down below. And don't forget to check out my blog at funstuffcrafts.com for other DIY projects.